MSP Unplugged. Simplify IT operations with NinjaOne. I'm your host, Paco LeBron. This is our live show where we discuss different ways to run your IT business, whether it's managed services, consulting, break fix, or anything in between. Let me go ahead and introduce my co-host. I have Rick Smith of Renactus Technology. Rick, how are you?
Hey, doing good, Paco. Can't complain.
Very good, very good. And I'd like to welcome our guest today. We have none other than AJ Singh over at NinjaOne. AJ, how are you?
Doing pretty good, Paco. Thanks for having me, and good to meet you, Rick.
You too.
Very cool. Really quick talk. We want to talk all things about Ninja. You know, obviously, we knew you as Ninja RMM. You are now known as NinjaOne, and love to dive into some of that here in a minute. But before we get into all that, I'd like to make the announcement of my favorite thing, and that is TechCon Unplugged. As we mentioned before, we are working through on finalizing some of the details and getting that announcement out to all of our Facebook community and group, and along with the TechCon Unplugged newsletter. If you're interested in staying up to date to be the first to know when we are back, and that will be in next September, feel free to go ahead and go to our website, techconunplugged.com, sign up there to be up to date with all the news. And I will go ahead and discuss later on in the show another way for you to keep up to date on all things MSP Unplugged and to be the first in to know. All right. So AJ, I know that, last time we had you on, we talked about a lot of great features and things that have happened over at Ninja. But for those that may not know who you are or may have not heard of Ninja before, why don't you go ahead and share a little bit about yourself and about the company?
Happy to. Okay. So my name is AJ Singh. I'm the VP of product at now NinjaOne. So NinjaOne was formerly known as Ninja RMM, which was a tool for remote management and monitoring, specifically focused on the MSP market. As time progressed, we understood there was a lot more pain with the other products in the MSP ecosystem, and people would really prefer to consolidate the IT stack. So there's different tools that they use in addition to the RMM. So there's tools like documentation tools, the few names would be like IT Glue, Passportal. There's tools for ticketing, there's tools for backup, and quite a few others. And what we thought was, since we understand the pain pretty well, we know what MSPs want, and we already had success with Ninja RMM with the way they wanted the experience, or the user experience, that is. So we wanted to bring that same experience into the other tools. And hence we became from a single product company to a portfolio of products. And that's why, or when we decided to name NinjaOne to reflect that. So just to add more color, NinjaOne is a unified IT operations management software that's going to help you consolidate your IT stack and optimize and modernize your day-to-day IT needs.
Very cool. I think that, when we knew about Ninja, I think it was way back before you officially launched. And that was, I want to say 2015, I believe, somewhere around there. Because I think you officially launched in 2016. Was that right?
So fun fact, we started the company end of 2013, unofficially.
Okay.
We incorporated in Jan 2014. And we had our first, we came out of stealth mode and in December 2015. So I think to the world, to your point, Jan 2016 is when the world knew us.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I remember when we met Armando at I want to say it was either at a Channel Pro or a Channel Con, just to talk about kind of how Ninja was coming through, and we refer to Ninja as NinjaOne at the time, Ninja RMM as Ninja, because it's just how we built that rapport over the years. Sure. And I remember you all were just really hitting a lot of great pain points. You were really looking at making RMM at the time simple, being able to really have a lot of power involved. And as time grew, you included all these new features and really tried to not only help those that may have been using other tools, but helping them understand on solidifying, consolidating, having everything through NinjaOne, not only as that vendor for one piece or component, but all aspects of the business, whether it was AV, patching, different variety of AV solutions that you could provide through Ninja's relationships that you expanded at that time. Can you share a little bit more about that ecosystem and what you were looking on establishing those relationships early on to help partners?
Absolutely. And thanks for mentioning that. That actually aligns with our vision that we had from day one, which was to be an ecosystem vendor. So when we started Ninja, we knew very well, we knew the MSP mindset, and we knew that MSPs have religions. They prefer a certain piece of software over the other. And we did not want to corner them into using one that we supported. So the goal was to pretty much bring in integrations with all the popular vendors in every realm, be it remote control, be it backup, be it the PSAs, which again is the heart of all the MSP operations. And so we built like multiple operations integrations in every single category. And so you had the choice to pick what you wanted. And then going back to the philosophy of we being builders, not buyers, we then work towards building some of these softwares in-house, again going back to the NinjaOne theme. So like IT Glue, we have a phenomenal integration with these guys because people love IT Glue and they are an awesome product. But we also felt that we could also build something streamlined, single pane of glass, so you don't have to jump to another tab at all and do everything in that single console. So
yeah, I think that with the fact of, and there was a lot of these features, right, that started getting built out and understanding, because this was just requests from the community, really making sure, and partners, to how can they establish a better output with the system? How can they go ahead and really dive into the power that NinjaOne could provide, but also have the ability to not only get what they want, but also consolidate and helping their bottom line as well. And I think from the get-go, I think was the first product you released, the backup that you built from the ground, was that where it kind of started within that on the builder mode, that, or establish or executing the builder mentality that you've all had already?
that is correct, actually. So we started the backup product around 2.5 years ago, because backup is one thing you can't afford to mess up with. So, and that has to be super robust before you launch it to the market. And Sal, our CEO, has done multiple startups in the backup space. He was with Lasso Logic. He was with Anchor, which is sold to eFolder or Accent now. So he had that backup DNA, and he knew what would it take to build something, again, with the Ninja experience. So that's the first product we launched. We started off with file and folder backup for Windows. We added features like image backup for Windows, backing up to the NAS, other things like bare metal restores, universal restores, and whatnot. And then also there's Mac file and folder backup coming soon. So yeah, to answer your question, that was the evolution of NinjaOne.
Perfect.
Inception of NinjaOne, rather.
And then you all were at TechCon Unplugged, and I know Armando was showing kind of the collateral as far as the materials and marketing materials that you had. And it seems like you all are super busy and now have dedicated teams onto some of these products as well, helping establish not only just more feature-rich components, but also having the efficiency of making sure that they're done once right, versus we'll put it out and start patching it along the way. Can you kind of expand on how the company has grown and the focus on product now?
Absolutely. So we are 300 plus strong now, and we plan to hire pretty much a similar number in the next couple of years. And we wanted to make sure, like, when we build all these products, our customers don't complain that, hey, you're not focusing on the Ninja RMM core product, which is, the basis of your existence. So we have all these parallel lanes for every single product that we're working on. And also there's a pretty huge lane for the mainline development as well. So each of these lanes can release independently of each other. So that means there won't be any conflict, or there won't be any holdups because of a certain product holding up the mainline release or any other products. So we have dedicated dev, QA teams on each of these lanes, and also the product team on each of these lanes separately.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, Rick, I know that, over the years, we've always been trying to chase the single pane of glass, right? And Jeff has coined the phrase, it's always a single pane in the ass, and it's my show, so I can swear now. So, I think it's basically how it works is that, how has your journey on trying to find that single pane of glass and really understanding that is consolidation in your tools and not being all over the place is going to be beneficial to an IT business owner?
Well, I got to the point where I believed that the single pane of glass didn't exist. And just the reason is we've tried so many things, and, but everything is, you need a little bit, they do this good, but they don't do this well. and they do this, so you end up changing all the time. So that journey has been long. I remember we did a show actually talking about the single pane of glass. So I don't know. I'm very curious about this now, but I guess my question to you, AJ, would be this: if is it an all or none package, or is it do you piecemeal it out? How do you add on, or is it?
That's a great question. So it's all a la carte. You pick what you want. So and again, I mean, like things like ticketing, right, which are available for free right now because we want to make sure there's enough adoption, people can try it out, make sure if there's any holes, tell us right now in the early phase, and down the line we might charge for it. But to answer your question, yeah, you can all piecemeal any part you want. You can get Ninja Basic, you can add remote control, you can add backup, ticketing. Documentation is free altogether, so you don't need to pay for that. But yeah, you pick what you want.
Wow.
So quick question on as far as ticketing, because I think that's your latest feature that just came out not too long ago. I think we heard about it at TechCon, and then like that Monday was the official announcement. So appreciate the exclusive. But we were really, what spawned that idea? Because I know that there was always talks for years on coming out with a ticketing system and understanding how that's important. But what really drove that to being a reality for your partners and really getting that most power to get ticketing going?
So we knew from day one we will build ticketing. It was just a matter of when. There's quite a few leaders on our team. Michael Shelton, who's our VP of support, so he's been handling multiple ticketing systems. There's other team members as well who had worked with multiple ticketing systems. So they knew what the pain was, and almost 2 years ago is when we started putting our ideas together, putting our heads together, and seeing what we wanted to build, what people would love to have, what people hate or love about other products, and again, coming up with the short list of items we need to build in Ninja. So the crux of this was to save customers time and build something, again, I know you hate this term, Rick, single pane of glass.
I don't actually hate it. It's the unicorn. I've been searching for it my whole MSP career, and totally. I just considered it the unicorn.
Totally. But jokes apart, there was also things we wanted to build, which was like automating the workflow. So at the core of it is when an alert triggers, create a ticket in Ninja, and easily get to that, assign to a tech and whatnot. Then what we've done is we added like automation workflows to it. So hey, if a ticket was not touched for the last 3 hours, escalate to tier 1. It's not touched for 3 hours still, escalate to tier 2. Tag it, untag it. There's all kinds of workflows you could add to it. Time-based triggers, event-based triggers. If something happens to a ticket, like there's the same device goes down again, you then escalate that to a higher level, or create like an email notification that goes to like the manager saying that, hey, this device is acting really funky, take care of it. So all kinds of fun stuff you could do with it. Also, we thought that it's going to make a lot of sense to add multiple ways your end users can file tickets. So they could file a ticket using the history icon on the endpoint. Just right click on that taskbar icon, submit a ticket. There's an end user portal, which I really would love to talk about. So when COVID happened, which is a disaster for all humanity, unfortunately, but one thing in the MSP space, the big pain was how would end users access their devices remotely. So Sal, being a visionary that he helped us create a very easy way to access your devices through something called an end user portal in Ninja. So it gives you visibility into just the devices that you have access to, and then you can easily connect to it. So there's not much more bells and whistles available, or there were not many bells and whistles available there. But then we wanted the end user portal to do a lot more. So the next natural step was building a self-serve ticketing portal for these end users. So that was the second point of entry from where people could submit tickets. And the third point of entry is the obvious one, sending an email to an alias like helpdesk@ninjarmm.com. But then we expanded that further, wherein you can have unlimited email aliases that you could use to send tickets over, and each of them can route to a different ticketing board. So really flexible and powerful at the same time.
Sure. And then right now, obviously this is ticketing, but I would imagine the plans are to make it a full-fledged PSA as time goes on, to build in those features that a traditional PSA users would be familiar with.
So that's a great question. Again, it makes a lot of sense, and it seems to be natural progression, but we are still gathering feedback. So
Okay.
TBD on that one. We haven't decided for sure if we want to go that route, but that might be
Sure.
on the cards.
Sure. No, and that's fair. And now I know you mentioned IT documentation as part of the platform, and I'm curious onto your thoughts. And maybe this is probably a question for Shane too. But I think there's this concept of consolidation of data and security and things of that nature that are going along. Having documentation inside of the RMM platform there's people on both fronts. What is the benefits compared to safeguarding that information inside of that platform versus maybe using an integration? And I think obviously consolidation may be a key piece of that, and flow for ease of use for the team.
And that is an awesome question. I love the way you thought about it. So I'll tell you one thing that keeps us up at night is security. So even when we started building this feature, the first thought was like, hey, should we put all the eggs in the same bucket or the same basket?
Right.
Because again, you have access to the devices. Now you even have credentials and whatnot. So if somebody gets a hold of Ninja, for that matter, how bad would it be? The answer is it could be really bad. And that's why we put in all these safeguards in place. So fun fact, when you open a password in the documentation platform in Ninja, you get prompted for a 2FA prompt. So every single time you access a secure field, as we call it, there will be a MFA associated with it. So it's not as easy as getting access to all that info.
Sure.
Also, we are slow rolling read access or write access to these secure fields, either via scripts or via APIs. So fun fact, documentation and custom data fields are kind of intertwined because they essentially are built from the same, same harness.
Yeah.
And so we are being very careful in rolling out because, again, there were some mishaps that happened in the RMM community wherein some of the other RMMs got breached recently. So we got in a call with our CTO and we throttled down and we retracted on some things we had done with documentation in terms of the secure fields. And we are slowly getting back to those things again, just by adding more layers of security to it.
Sure.
So that's our approach towards it, a very calculative and very a permissions-based approach. So we're also adding more levers. I don't know, we never talked about this. So user permissions is being completely redone at Ninja. So what we had was a basic user permissions module, but it's being completely revamped, and that's going to be a closed beta in the release that's going to go out tomorrow. But the goal would be like building extremely granular control on every single lever you have access to. And documentation and custom fields are a big part of it.
Gotcha. And I kind of go in this route, whether right or wrong, I think there's a benefit to the company on understanding how two ends meet versus where if you have your integrations, a poorly created or a poorly configured API between two separate companies, and if both are not aligned in that scope of work, and as you're developing that API or that script between the two businesses, that may not be in the same kind of conglomerate of the overall, of the big three, having all of them integrated together and not built from the ground up is one, can find that there's benefits because you're kind of keeping things separate. But now I'm even hearing that like even MFA is, although beneficial, the APIs is now kind of the big next threat. And I think those integrating with third-party systems and you're not part of the same company, at least here, as you just demonstrated, now that you have all the teams in the same room and understanding all the entire architecture, you have that advantage of understanding what needs to be changed, what needs to be shut out in the event something were to go wrong, you can easily hit that lever and separate what's necessary, and you're putting all that groundwork as you need right now. So that's kind of where I stand. I mean, it's a double-sided coin, whether you keep it in-house or not. I think there's security experts that say keep it separate for security reasons. But again, anything can get into anything, whether it's siloed or not. I think in this case, you just explain on how the benefit of having it all in one place, and so more, you all as NinjaOne taking that very seriously and understanding how you are kind of treating that into a siloed effort. But for the user experience, it's understanding that it's one platform, one ability to access everything, and you have security much in mind. So I think that's a great explanation of what you just really taught about on IT documentation, which is Rick's favorite thing to talk about.
I love it. I have a question from the other side of it.
Please.
For those who do not subscribe to all in one location or all in one place, are the integrations still available that you had prior?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And we'll always do, right? That again goes back to the Ninja's vision, which was to be an ecosystem vendor. So we would never, ever do this to our MSPs or to do this to our partners, wherein we just want them to use what we want them to use. The integrations are always, so we have a very close relationship with all the product teams on each of these vendors. And whenever there's a new feature they roll out, they always let us know, and we have access to our APIs. We redid our API, I think a year ago or so. So it's extremely powerful. It's OAuth based, so super secure, and it can fetch a lot more data. So we are in close touch with these PM teams as well to make sure they have access to all this. And I mean, that's one thing I love about our community, and I'm sure you guys will agree with that. It's a very close community. It's
yes,
close. Like people are, they work together. People work together. They know this pain, and I think I love the way the whole community works. We are very open. We are very clear about the things we need, and we are very verbal about the things we don't like, which is awesome because that also makes us as vendors really successful, because when we know they don't want this, but they want this a certain way, that helps us carve the roadmap a lot better. So
very cool. Very cool. Well, let's take a quick break. I just went ahead and posted in the chat in case there's any other additional questions. But for those that are looking to support the show, as I mentioned earlier in the show, there's another way to go ahead and gain access to the first exclusive information coming around MSP Unplugged is supporting the show. You can head over to patreon.com/MSP Unplugged. There you will go ahead and find that the shows are about $1 a show. And with that subscription, you are able to go ahead and join our online community, which currently is being hosted on Facebook, which is a Facebook private group. And there you'll be able to have a safe space to not only collaborate with other like-minded business owners, whether you're a one-man show, part-time, full-time, those with employees. Everyone tries to get a lot of great, not only feedback and information and value, but also they build a good rapport and a camaraderie that really has established. I mentioned this story a couple of weeks ago where there was a member that and his wife actually got stranded, and another member was actually able to go out there and pick them up from their vehicle breaking down, and they met through the community. So you're not only just building your business, but you're also building friendships, you're building professional relationships, and getting access to a lot of great vendors that are contributing and really have that intent to support the community as they're driving their own mission. And it's a two-way street, as I've always mentioned before. So if you're looking for a space to chat, get more information about what's going on with us and be the first to know, head over to patreon.com/MSP Unplugged. And as always, we also want to thank those that continuously support us as we continue on with the new and bright things me and Rick are planning up for MSP Unplugged.
That's all right. Story, by the way.
Yes, awesome. It was. I always go back to it because it just shows on how the power of community, and everyone says, just the hallway conversations, getting that one nugget has always been beneficial. But then there's that personal rapport that builds with that. Like, for example, me and Rick met at an unconvention in DC. That was the first time we met back almost 5 years ago, and built a great rapport and friendship. And now, we're here in MSP Unplugged. So it's been definitely a great great time. So AJ, I think we're going to probably round out the show here, but before we do that, I wanted to chat a little bit more on maybe any new things that maybe you can kind of tell us, or maybe the next major release that's probably planned for Ninja, and what we can possibly expect coming from NinjaOne now that we have some new exciting things coming in the forefront.
That's awesome. Now, definitely would love to share. So there is a release that's going out tomorrow to the US, as I mentioned. So we are making our Linux agent GA. So we had support for Windows to start with. We did a pretty decent job with Mac, and Linux being in closed beta. The goal was again to make sure we cover your IT stack, as much as possible. So, and Linux agent it's been pretty successful. It's been pretty stable. So I think at this point we have the comfort level to make it GA. There's also support for Windows 11 and Mac OS Monterey, which was recently announced. So there's full-blown support. We made sure there's no bugs. It's running super solid. And so that's going to be public. SAML, so support for SAML, things like Okta, OneLogin, Azure. If you guys are using that, you could integrate with Ninja and sign up and onboard that way. Patching is a huge focus for Ninja, again, and for any MSP for that matter as well. So there's a roadmap towards making our patching already from what it is, which is pretty awesome, to one of the best in the industry. So there's incremental features being added there. The ones that are in this release are things like preemptive approvals or rejections. So you might be aware of the print nightmare thing that happened recently.
Yep.
So this will help you block a KB at the global level. So even before it hits any of the machines, it's going to be blocked outright. We'll show you who installed the patch. That's the biggest question people ask our support team. Hey, so there was a patch that got pushed out to a machine. Was Ninja the one who did that, or was it done by an end user? We are adding that visibility here using the super awesome Windows APIs. There's options like, hey, if a certain patch requires a reboot, so that will let you determine if you want to push out a 0-day patch during business hours or not. So those are some of the highlights. There's a few other big features coming down the line early next year, more like early to mid Q1. Support for custom SNMP. So you can basically monitor any device on the planet as long as that supports SNMP. So you can monitor your QNAPs, Synologies, your printers, running out of paper, running out of ink, the whole 9 yards. Bitdefender Gravity Zone. So again, sticking to the security theme, we will have a single pane. Hi, Rick. With Bitdefender Gravity Zone, wherein we can deploy, manage, monitor the Gravity Zone installed through Ninja, install or remove modules like EDR, device control, firewall, encryption, the whole 9 yards. Mac OS and third-party patching. So that's a big one. We already do OS patching through scripts, but we'll build that natively in Ninja using the Ivanti SDK. So Ivanti is a very well-known player in the enterprise space when it comes to patching. We're leveraging their SDKs under the hood to perform that patching. There's going to be Mac file and folder backup. And one more highlight would be out-of-box script library. So that'll let you fetch scripts from our community. You can also do peer reviews and add those scripts, and then enhance your script library a lot more to do your day-to-day tasks. So that was a long-winded answer.
You guys are going to be busy.
That's just the tip of the iceberg, just so you know. There's a lot more. There's more products coming, which you will hear more about. I'm sure we'll talk later next year on that too. But lots of exciting stuff happening at Ninja.
Wow.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think that the fact of that dedication and having all of those features coming out, I think that, Ninja has always expressed on how they are listening and have the finger in the pulse on the community, your partners. So it's really good to hear that you're continuously trying to grow with them as you receive that feedback and updating that roadmap. It should be a great time for everyone at NinjaOne and those that are partners as well. But going into that, since we don't have any additional questions, AJ, if anyone wanted to find out more about NinjaOne, or maybe wanted to reach out to you or someone from your team, what would be the best way for them to engage?
So if you want to get access to our platform, we give you a 30-day free and unlimited trial. You can just hit up sales@ninjaone.com, And if you want access to the PM team, or if you would like to talk to me, more than happy to hop on a call. Just going with the company culture. That's one thing about Ninja. If you want to hop on a call with anybody from the management team, it's super easy to get that going. But my email would be aj@ninjaone.com. Would love to.
Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. Well, as always, we've always appreciated you for over the years supporting the podcast, supporting our event this past year. And we look forward to continue partnering with you and spreading the word on your platform as well. Rick, if anyone wanted to find out what you're up to nowadays, how can they go ahead and reach you?
Well, you're going to be able to find me here at MSP Unplugged. You can reach me at Rick at MSP Unplugged. And I'm going to say this probably every show. We are trying to make the upcoming event, as always, our event. So I encourage everyone, if you have any questions, you have any suggestions, any issues you had with the last things you don't want to see, you want to see, please email me at Rick at MSP Unplugged. We're going to try really hard to continuously, I think these guys have done a great job over the years. So we're going to try to continuously improve on what's been built. So again, I'm going to keep stressing that. You'll hear me say the same thing at the end of every show. But Rick at MSP Unplugged.
No, that's great. And then, yes, and for those, that don't know, the way that we've been so successful on all these events is we post a lot of great commentary and feedback and polls and just trying to get the feedback from our Facebook and our online community. So if you want to be able to have a great voice, also feel free to join there as well if you are a contributor. Also, as Rick mentioned, email us at info@mspunplugged.com, or each one of us, Paco or Rick at MSP Unplugged, however you feel more comfortable. Feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to hear your feedback. And come join us every Tuesday at noon Eastern, 11 Central. Watch live and hang out on the chat room over at youtube.com/MSP Unplugged. Subscribe and hit the notification button so you never miss an episode, because you never know when we're going to have either a bonus one or we're moving some episodes around as we're ironing out our new schedule as we kind of go through on our weekly endeavors for this live show. If you prefer not to listen live, but you like to listen to the audio version, we're on all your favorite podcasting apps. We're on Spotify, Amazon Music, and the traditional Apple Podcasts, so you can take us wherever you go. Again, thank you for listening, and we will see you next time on MSP Unplugged.
Thanks, everyone.